Hey, how are you? It's Damien here, and sorry for making this video kind of late. I had some bumps in the road with my legal name change, but now that they're out of the way, I can properly talk about it and let you know how it went and how where I am right now and what the next steps I'm going to take on it. So, for one thing, it was a long process for sure. I started an appointment at the Trans Legal Defense and Education Fund. The people who were giving me free legal services for the name change, make it easier for me instead of me doing all the work. I have a lawyer that's going to help me along the way who kind of like breaks it down how it works. Because in New York City, it's quite a long process. Because for one thing, I had to make an appointment. I did that like shortly after New Year's, and I had to like truck my way through the snow and talk with them and tell them what my name, what I'm changing my name to, what's my income, and show them my birth certificate and my U.S. passport and my naturalization certificate as well. So turns out I have two last names. I did not know that actually, especially when I was looking for my stuff because I did not know where my birth certificate was, and I was like, oh my god, I have four names in total. When I thought I just had like a first name, middle name, last name. But no, I have two surnames. Both of them are from my parents. I wanted to keep both of them, and it's like, what? Anyways, after I made an appointment, they told me, okay, there's usually a waiting list. But there's actually someone waiting to take a case, and they're from Davis and Polk, lawyers, the firm or something. And they said they're gonna give me a call within 2 weeks. It's like, okay, great. So I come home, 2 hours pass by, and I get a phone call, and it's them. The guy's name's Joe. He's really nice, and he told me to come in this Friday, like that Friday, to like sign papers and look over and check everything's fine, the spelling's going to be okay for the name change and all that, just double check everything, and to show him my passport and my birth certificate, proof of birth. So it's like, okay, that works for me. So Friday rolls around, and I was like signing some stuff. I gave him what he asked of me, and then he told me what the next steps were. He told me that the court dates for name change are generally fall on a Monday or a Tuesday, so it's like he's gonna get something. It should probably not be more than 2 weeks. You'll get a court date. It doesn't take that long. So it's like, okay, awesome. So I'll call. He's like, okay, so I'll call you when I have a court date set. It's like, all right. So maybe like a week passes by. I was like buying stuff, my needles at Callan Lord, and then I get a phone call. And he's like, okay, so we got our court date set. It's going to be February 2nd at 11 a.m. It's like, alright, so that's basically like week and a half from that day. And he told me to, just in case, bring my birth certificate and my passport, just in case the judge asked me. It's better to have it than not to have it at that moment. I was like, okay. So a week and a half passes by with basically uneventfully. And the day before, my uncle saw like some name change petitions near my printer. He came over to print, and he asked me why I'm changing my name. But he doesn't know what the papers were like blank, so he didn't see anything on it. So thankfully, he didn't see anything. But he's like, okay, we're gonna have to talk about that. And I'm like, well, this is a conversation I'm not looking forward to having. You see, I'm still not out to him, surprisingly. Even though, like, just yesterday he was looking at my name tags and wondering what Damien Coppersan was. He's like, who is that? And I was like, oh, that's just my new name. And he gave it back to me without comment. So the next day, it's finally February 2nd. I woke up at 7, had some breakfast, took my dog out, ironed my clothes. I had to go buy some clothes. Those dress shirts are very roomy in here. So I get dressed. There was actually a snowstorm warning that day as well. So I was like, okay, that's probably going to affect the MTA transportation in New York City. I should probably leave maybe like half an hour earlier just in case. I don't want to be late for this. This is such a big, important moment. So I run out of the house like around 9:30. I jump on the F train. there was delays, but I managed to get there 30 minutes before 11 a.m. I waited around for my lawyer to come, and when it was 11 o'clock, we entered the courtroom. And there was the judge, already looking over some paperwork with his assistant over there, had like all these files. I was half expecting a jury to be there, but surprisingly there wasn't any. This is a civil court down in Brooklyn, so I was half expecting for there to jury for me to explain and out myself to, but that didn't happen. So I'm sitting there for like 2 hours and 15 minutes, and surprisingly there was a trans woman who was getting a name change that day too, and I know it was a trans woman because they didn't really pass to me in my opinion, and well, they had the appropriate clothing and everything. It's just the face, like the brow bossing of their stuff. But anyways, and there was like two guys behind me who was like making fun of her, and like I was like, oh, it's a he, she, and all that, and I was just sitting there like in a pretty bad mood. So before, like, when I took a look at the judge, I knew that it was going to be like very conservative about everything. And I was like, he's probably not going to waive publication. I can already tell that this guy is going to be a stickler. And that basically confirmed my suspicions when that MTF was up there talking with him in private. He calls them up and they talk to him like in private, like kind of face to face. And she was trying to explain to him why she wants the publication waived, which, you know, with all those transphobic violences that happens to MTS down in Brooklyn, I can see valid reasons for why she doesn't want her name change published in a newspaper. But he was like, no, I'm sorry, have you ever had any of these things happen to you? And she's like, no, well, in that case, I'm not going to waive publication. You're still going to have to do it. Alright, so what's the newspaper you're going to pick? So she she basically went along with it, defeated, and I kind of felt bad for her. So just like when she finished and I was thinking all these things, I get called up by my lesser known surname because when he called up Perales, I was like, wait, is he calling me? Because I'm generally called by Quiroga for anything, but if I'm called by last name, it's generally just Quiroga, it's not Perales. But anyways, I get called up and he asked me some stuff about my parents' immigration status. If you guys already know, my parents and I are not from here. We're an immigrant family. We're basically trans people of color. So he asked me about their immigrant status, if I'm a citizen, like where was I a naturalized citizen, and all these things. Basically my legal status. And he asked, like, is this your middle name that you're gonna have this thing in the middle? And he's like, okay, so let me get your passport and everything. And I showed him everything. I came prepared. I really wanted this name change and everything. And then he's like, okay, so where do you want to publish your name change? And my lawyer's like, well, I was wondering if we could waive publication. The guy basically deadpanned, like dead ass. He like deadpanned. He's like, we don't waive publication. And my lawyer's like, well, is that going to be okay with you? Okay, that's going to be fine. If we really have to do it, we'll do it, but I just don't want my entire address published. And he's like, oh, no, it's okay. And we're like, okay, let's publish in the Irish Echo. And the Irish Echo is basically a newspaper where all the name changes get published and basically nobody reads it. Nobody even buys that newspaper. The only reason the newspaper is still running is because name changes have a fee, like those publications have a fee, and that's basically what's keeping this newspaper running. So even my lawyer said, oh, no one's going to read that. And then he's like, okay, so this records is going to be sealed or something, something legal stuff. And we had like a problem with sealed records. Like right after that, the judge signed the order and all that, and he was like, and then my lawyer had like another coworker there representing somebody else for a name change that same day. So, and they represent the same firm. So that person was supposed to get their records sealed, not mine, and they had like a mix-up. So to get the court-ordered change, I had to run downstairs to the court clerk offices and get my stuff unsealed, because when the records are sealed, they can't access it through the computer. They have to manually go downstairs and get it open and all that. It's just some weird legal stuff that they have that. But long story short, we had a delay in getting the order printed and signed and everything. But of course, I couldn't get my certified copies. My publication has to go in the round the newspaper for a little bit. And then we gotta get the affidavit for like proof that we published it. And then we can finally get our certified copies of the court order, which, not surprisingly, since this is New York City, it's $6 a copy. And I'm gonna need like maybe 4 or 5 of those, so it's gonna cost me like $30. So, they said they're gonna provide it for me. I don't know if provide it for me is like they're gonna get it and then I have to pay for them, but so far I didn't have to pay the processing fee. I didn't have to pay the publication fee, to my knowledge, as of right now, because I'm low income, I'm unemployed practically. So right now my name change is basically making its rounds in the newspaper, and the next steps is basically getting that proof of publication, showing it to the court, and finally get my certified copies and start sending it everywhere. I basically have to go round tripping around New York City, getting my ID changed, my credit card changed. I already had to notify, for some reason my judge said, okay, you're going to have to notify Social Security, and you have to notify the people that run that U.S. passport. I was like, okay. I was going to do that anyway, but the lawyer told me that's a bit strange that, a judge is making you, like, mandatory do that. It's like ordering you to. So, yeah. That's where I am right now, and I just got my blood work done. These needles are not pleasant, I gotta tell you. I had my needle stuck in my thigh, and it's not as painful as getting it here. But anyways, I just got my blood work done, and I have to see my, my endocrinologist next week to review my blood work. So I'm gonna finally ask them for a gender marker change letters. I basically will be killing 2 birds with 1 stone, because I don't want to like go back there and like have to pay extra for a gender marker change while I already went over there for my name change on my ID and everything else. So I could get everything done in one shot. I'm a little hesitant of changing my gender marker on my insurance because, well, what if I need a histo later on? I'm going to have to really fight for it, and people are going to be like, why would a male need a histo? What's that about? So, yeah, that's where I am right now, and that's basically the next steps. I'm going to see my primary care physician next week, and I'm going to ask them for a gender marker change letter so I can take it to all these places and have my gender marker changed and not have to go around with this nice new name and people getting a little frazzled by seeing the F on my sex, designated sex on my ID. So, yeah. It's been a long journey. I sought this all out in January, and it's almost March, and by the time everything gets settled, it'll possibly be like mid-March, like around April, everything's gonna get done, and I can finally move on with life, and I can finally find a job without outing myself in those background check information stuff. So, yeah, that's basically the entire thing. That was probably a mouthful. I'm sorry for boring you guys, but I just wanted to share it. Well, it's still fresh in my mind, and it's been an awesome journey. I'm very grateful that the Trans Legal Defense and Education Fund was able to help me out, and it didn't take that long as my friend, but it's finally happening, and this is like a big step for me, and wow, I just can't wait to see my new ID and with my new picture there, instead of seeing what I used to look like with my long hair. Anyways, I'm going off tangents. Yeah, that's basically my legal name change in a nutshell. I'll be posting my 4-month on T rap cover next week, and I also got some other stuff planned that's going to be helping trans masculine musicians, but that's something I'm going to leave for another time. Alright, see ya.